attack, fast fatal heart impact, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and packs. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're just freaked out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here. And now, I believe that whenever we last left off with this series, we had Izuku Midoriya. He was roughly, I believe, whenever I last left off, 11 or 10 years old, if I'm correct. Anyways, now, with that being said, Midoriya, he begins to train a bit more. After learning that certain heroes do certain workouts, he began to go on his own. Understanding a bit more about what Venom talks about. Venom does talk about trying to increase his strength and durability at the basic human level. He can do so by taking pieces of the DNA that he already has from previous host and somewhat incorporating them into Midoriya's. Basically meaning that he can give Midoriya traits of a quirk. If you can lift roughly about, let's say, if you were a normal person, if you can lift up 200 pounds with great difficulty, but if you had a quirk and you could lift up somewhere around 1600s, Midoriya would have his trait, or at least the ability to lift up to somewhere up to around, at least, I want to say somewhere between 400 and 800. He does not get a quirk, however he does take traits. Like the fact that your muscles, the amount of stress you're putting on them, will be very difficult. He can lift up that amount of weight, but even if it is very difficult, his muscles themselves will not blow out and explode on him. Now, along with that, Midoriya, him and Bakugo, those two didn't really get along. Especially after Venom began to make his presence known to everyone, people began to see Midoriya differently. The strange organic webbing, the whole sticking on walls thing, and the fact that he basically has a, well, sentient quirk. It's very just odd. No one's really too sure as to what to say about it. And, well, you do have today. Midoriya, he is currently running laps. Today is a weekend and he is actually somewhat curious. As he is running laps, he does hear something. But he doesn't really pay much of attention to it. The sound is somewhat loud, but hey, it's not really his problem. However, he does keep running. And eventually he does hear it getting louder and louder. More confused. Especially because the spider sense or the alarm in his head is not going off. So, exactly what is that? I'm not too sure. Really? Well, I was kind of hoping you were. Why? Because if we can find out what that is, then we can at least stop it from continuing. It's actually really interrupting me. It's hard to listen to my music. I still don't understand music. It's a thing people listen to, Venom. What is it? It can either calm you down, get you really excited, or in my case, keep me pumped up and focused. Anyways, Midoriya taking off into a sprint and deciding to jump onto the side of the building. He immediately jumps onto the side of the building, and Venom creates the fibers in his hands. Midoriya being able to climb up the wall a bit. While he is climbing, he does eventually get up high enough. Looking around the area, he doesn't see anything. Climbing to the other side of the wall and turning onto the other side of the building, he does eventually see it. Bakugo, well, he's at least roughly 2 to 3 houses down. He's holding onto the apartment that's close by his house, or his own apartment. Seeing that Bakugo is actually hanging out in the area outside, and someone actually just testing out his quirk. Now, Bakugo is letting off explosions in his hands, and as he's letting them off, you actually watch as Bakugo then throws them up and lets off a bigger boom. This somewhat surprising Midoriya. Is that what he does for training? It's not really seeming like a lot. Huh. It's kind of weird. Meh. Well, aren't you gonna go talk to him? Bakugo? Nah, not really. The dude's, well, I would say an asshole. But he's coming around. What do you mean? Well, you've seen him. He always thinks he's either stronger than someone, in charge of someone, or simply just that he's better than someone. Really? From what I've seen, it seems like you two respect each other. Kinda. Really? I am in your head. Remember that. I mean, I know, Venom, but still. Respect and, well, actually caring about someone are different. For example, you, I respect you, and you respect me. So I also do care about you. You're, well, my closest friend. Really? Friend? So, what about him? Well, we always did know each other since we were younger. But even then, the guy always seemed different. Midoriya climbing down from the building and continuing his run. Whenever he does eventually go to rest, he does talk to Venom, telling him how after Bakugo manifested his quirk, he changed. And eventually, Venom came around, and Bakugo felt like that was a threat. He put himself on a pedestal, only for him to also knock the chair out from underneath him. He basically knocked it out from underneath himself. He got on that high horse just to try and get it to move, and fell off as soon as it did. Now, Venom does somewhat begin to understand. And Midoriya and Venom, they actually do somewhat suit up. Midoriya covers his arms in Venom, and he does actually begin to somewhat try and move, trying to understand Venom a bit more. As he is moving around, Venom himself does actually state that it's not just about control. Remember, like this you have more access to me than, well, usually. What are you talking about? Well, I somewhat link myself to your nervous system. What? When did you start doing that? I've always done it. However, I'm making you aware now. Whenever I linked myself there, you get better control. Do you understand? Yeah? So is that why I feel this massive increase? Yes. For your safety, I sever and connect them individually. If we're connected all the time, we might permanently bond. And that would be bad. Really? How would that be bad? Well, once bonded, I'm not too sure. It's something unique, new. If I were to try to permanently bond to you, I'm not too sure what would happen. We might become something different, a new being. Your consciousness might take mine over, or mine might take your over. Oh, okay. Now, Noria actually does someone get ready, telling Venom that they're going to go for a stress test. Does he think he's up for that? Yes. Good. Midoriya getting into a running stance, and swiftly just taking off. As soon as he does begin to run, Midoriya, he shows off incredible speed. He's running on two legs, and he's going roughly around 50 to 60 miles an hour. And people do actually somewhat turn and look at him. Midoriya basically just running through different areas. And it's quite surprising. A lot of people are staring at him as he passes by. Midoriya eventually going from running on two legs to feeling like he could go faster. And Venom tells him to run, run, run! And the suit quickly begins to cover Midoriya's torso. And Midoriya, going from running on two legs, begins to run on four, more like an animal. Quickly doing this, his mask covering his face before Midoriya does just jump up and begin to run across the rooftops. Midoriya climbing up buildings with his bare hands. In fact, he did say stress test. He began to scale a skyscraper with just his hands. He let his feet dangle and see exactly what he could do with Venom. After him and Venom got to the top, the mask retreated. Whoa. What was that? Sorry. Got a bit too encouraging. I can tell. I can also feel that. Midoriya turning his head and looking into the mirror. Watching as whenever he does actually pull open his mouth and see his teeth, some of them do look a little bit sharper. What the hell? Sorry. Must be a trait from an animal host. Really? Wait, animal? Bonded with many things, animals included. Really? So, that's actually pretty cool. So you're telling me that you're giving me traits from animals and humans? Yes. Can take them all on. If I can get my hands on DNA material. You want me to get you their blood? No. I can bond. Quickly touch, quickly retreat. I believe that they're called, from my knowledge, skin cells. Every few days and or minutes, constantly, humans have skin cells that die. I can take those cells. Eventually, they do add up, and that is material to use. Okay, that's sort of weird. There's better ways to explain it. I can use that material and give it to you. Amplify strength, durability, speed. But that's sort of weird. It's a quirk. Not really. What? Quirks are random, and you can at least tell someone has one sometimes. So you're saying no. The offer, it's still weird to me, Venom. But I just want to know exactly what would you do if I took on these traits? What would change in me? I've trusted you for this long, and I don't think there's any reason why I shouldn't stop trusting you. Even if you're an alien, and you're somewhat of a symbiote. Well, I add abilities, take small things out. I won't hurt you. You're perfect, remember? As long as I can stay alive, I will help. Good. Now, what about... Would it be a good idea? Probably. What could you do with, well, an animal? What type have you already bonded with? Now, Venom does begin to list some off. He lists off a bit of traits from at least wild boars and let's say at least a jackrabbit, telling Midoriya that abilities like these would be easy. Tusk, they might be what the mutation Midoriya saw in his teeth, partially shining through from bonding. Midoriya, yeah. He just talks about the rabbit's ability. What could it do? And Venom does begin to, at least, put in a bit of the DNA, showing Midoriya exactly what can happen. Venom already contained the DNA, but now he is bonding it with Midoriya's. As soon as that did actually happen, Midoriya, he actually did feel a bit stronger. He didn't feel very much. However, he did begin to notice differences. As he got down from the building, him and Venom began to talk. And after Midoriya and Venom took off running, Midoriya began to think again. Venom talks about being able to move faster, and I can manipulate Venom. Midoriya manipulating his legs to look different, and somewhat add in a spring. Whenever he's running, he can immediately just leap off with that leg, and run faster. Then there's the fact that he's beginning to swing throughout the air. And he's doing this over and over. Many different people seeing this, well, they think he's a hero. Or at least strange. He does seem to be harmless. Since he's not running into anyone, he's not causing a commotion, and he's at least sticking away from more populated areas. Now, eventually Midoriya does head back home. And as he does still have Venom covering him, he actually does retreat the mask. And look at his hands. Midoriya going to walk up the stairs as he's actually manipulating his hand into giant claws. Retreating them back, and then, with the palm of his hand, beginning to create something. As he's manipulating these strange things, or at least Venom, you have Bakugo, who himself, he at least saw Midoriya, running into him in the hallway. Jeez, what's your problem? Oh, sorry, man. I'm a bit, well, tired. Huh. Well, seems like it. Anyways, just stay out of my way. Really. What's your problem, man? I don't have a problem with you. I don't. Bakugo says, looking away, saying that he doesn't have a problem with someone he can beat easily. Really. Because last time, I was able to take you down easy. You caught me off guard, asshole. Really. Still doesn't change it. If you really want to fight me, Bakugo, let's go. I don't have time for this. Bakugo just walking away, still trying to think. He doesn't know a lot about Midoriya's quirk. He wants to see if he can find any weaknesses in it. And no one really wants to talk to him about Midoriya. When he tries to bring up the topic, yeah, everyone just stops talking about it. Bakugo, he's a bit too aggressive in his tactic, trying to yell and scream at people for information. Because of that, no one wants to give him the information. That's his problem. Now, with that being said, I do believe that that will be a good point to leave this off of. And I do hope you guys enjoy.